All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and crack open one of nature's ultimate cold cases. We're talking about ball lightning. Just picture this for a second. You're looking out your window during a heavy thunderstorm, and suddenly you see a glowing, basketball-sized orb just casually floating through the air. I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, right? But it is a very real, highly documented phenomenon. Today we're going to track down the hard evidence and investigate a mystery that has quite literally baffled scientists for centuries.
So our cold case actually kicks off way back in 1886, down in Venezuela. A family of 9 was sleeping in their hut when they were suddenly woken up by this incredibly loud humming noise and a blindingly bright light. We have an archived letter from Scientific American that describes the gruesome aftermath, and it's pretty intense. It mentions violent vomitings, large black blotches, and peeling skin. Now, those are symptoms that look remarkably like modern-day radiation poisoning. But here's the craziest part of the whole story. The house itself was completely untouched. There were absolutely zero signs of a regular lightning strike anywhere.
You know, despite centuries of eerie historical accounts exactly like that one, and despite all the massive technological leaps we've made, Wikipedia still officially classifies ball lightning as an unsolved problem in physics. It's sitting right there on the master list of the universe's biggest mysteries. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How can something witnessed by so many people in so many different environments all over the world remain a total blind spot for modern science?
To actually solve this, we have to cut through a lot of noise. We need to separate the fog of internet lore from the hard forensic evidence. Because, let's be honest, it is incredibly easy to jump to wild conclusions. Aliens, UFOs, unverified radiation claims, whenever we hit a wall with the unexplained. But for us, we're leaving all that speculation at the door. We are only looking at verified scientific observations, quantified video data, and rigorous lab experiments to see what the physical data is actually trying to tell us.
Let's look at some of that hard evidence, starting with a brilliant 2023 close-up video analysis that was presented to the American Physical Society. Researchers used computer vision on a video recorded just 6 meters away from one of these events. They were able to track these glowing objects, and they found them moving at a precise, steady pace of exactly 2.5 meters per second, which is basically a brisk walking pace, right before they collide with the ground.
What's absolutely wild here is how perfectly this verified field data lines up with centuries of random eyewitness accounts. The data showed the orbs were roughly 300 to 400 millimeters wide, so about the size of a basketball. They emitted 300 to 600 milliwatts of light, which is similar to a really weak, low-power light bulb, and they lasted for just about 2 seconds. This is huge because it proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that these spheres are a real, measurable atmospheric phenomenon. They aren't optical illusions, and they definitely aren't just tall tales.
But if we're talking about evidentiary breakthroughs, the biggest one actually happened completely by accident in 2012. A team of Chinese researchers was out in Qinghai observing a standard thunderstorm. They were using slitless spectrographs, which are devices that break down light to reveal the exact chemical makeup of whatever is glowing. Out of nowhere, this massive, 5-meter-wide glowing orb, literally the size of a minivan, appears right in front of them for 1.6 seconds. Without even meaning to, they captured the holy grail of ball lightning research, real-time spectral data of the phenomenon out in nature.
That happy accident gave us a literal scientific smoking gun. The spectrograph revealed the orb was emitting radiation specifically from silicon, iron, and calcium. And why is that absolutely crucial? Because those are the exact same elements found in the dirt right beneath where the ball lightning appeared. This wasn't some mystical atmospheric gas floating around. This orb literally contained the chemical signature of the ground itself. So naturally, the next question is, how do we recreate this in a lab? Well, scientists at Tel Aviv University actually managed to cook up their own miniature fireballs, and just like the 2012 discovery, it was a total accident. They were testing a new drill made out of microwave oven parts. When they accidentally drilled into glass, this glowing blob blew out and damaged their gear. But instead of giving up, they tweaked the setup, and they actually managed to trap these glowing orbs in a glass box and study them for several minutes. This incredible lab experiment threw major support behind a leading scientific hypothesis proposed by John Abrahamson back in 2000, known as the vaporized silicon hypothesis. The idea is elegantly simple. When normal lightning strikes the ground, the immense heat vaporizes the soil into a cloud of aerosolized microscopic dust. As these tiny dirt particles mix with oxygen in the air, they undergo chemical reactions that release energy. So effectively, you get a floating, glowing ball of burning dirt.
But the suspects in our cold case don't end there. See, the silicon model doesn't explain everything. For instance, It doesn't explain how ball lightning can easily pass straight through solid glass windows or the hulls of aircraft, which is a really common eyewitness report. To solve that, John Gilman proposed a completely different model, the Rydberg-Adams hypothesis. He suggested the ball is actually a very low-density plasma held together by highly excited atoms. These atoms possess huge electron orbitals that stick together through attractive forces called van der Waals interactions. Think of it like a glowing, highly charged sponge of energy.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more complex, the physics takes another turn. A 2014 Chinese research paper brings a third major suspect to the table, the plasma vortex model. Imagine a standard lightning bolt as a column of plasma acting like a magnetic fluid. As electrical current violently flows through it, it creates magnetic fields that pinch the column inward, putting the whole structure under immense stress.
If there is even a slight bend or distortion in that highly pressurized plasma tube, the magnetic pressure changes drastically. The particles are forced outward and downward, creating this fluid backflow. This violent reaction essentially blows a magnetic smoke ring, curling that plasma channel up into a self-contained spinning vortex. And that, according to the theory, is the embryonic form of ball lightning.
Now, the crucial point here is that this vortex model elegantly explains some of the absolute craziest ball lightning behaviors. Because it's a spinning vortex, its viscosity prevents it from instantly dissipating, which explains that unexpectedly long lifespan. The rotation allows it to literally catch the wind and float. Because it's a mesh-like structure of loose molecular components, it can actually separate, phase right through the structure of solid glass, and reform on the other side. And finally, when its internal, highly unstable ions break down into stable states, the whole thing erupts in a violent explosion.
So taking a step back, we have several highly compelling, distinct models. We've got glowing vaporized soil, sticky excited atoms, and a self-contained magnetic plasma vortex. They all have verified evidence backing them up, and they all have unique theoretical strengths. Yet the mystery remains, because no single theory completely explains every single piece of the puzzle all at once.
Which brings us to a mind-bending cosmic wildcard that was just proposed in a 2025 theoretical physics paper. See, the biggest remaining hurdle in ball lightning physics is explaining the massive power source required to keep these balls glowing so brightly for so long. This new paper asks an incredible question: what if the power source is actually axion quark nuggets? This is a theoretical form of dark matter composed of standard model quarks and gluons, which was originally proposed just to explain the ratio of dark matter to visible matter in the universe. I know, bringing dark matter into a weather phenomenon sounds like quite a leap, right? But this paper suggests that ball lightning, and perhaps even certain unidentified aerial phenomena that share similar characteristics, could actually be profound visible manifestations of dark matter interacting with our Earth's atmosphere. The internal power generated by these dark matter nuggets could perfectly explain the energy output and duration of ball lightning events that have left scientists scratching their heads for centuries. As science slowly corners this centuries-old suspect, moving from terrified 19th century villagers to accidental spectrograph recordings, all the way to cutting-edge dark matter physics, we are left with a staggering thought. If a glowing orb floating through a thunderstorm could actually be a clue to unlocking the dark matter of the universe, what other profound cosmic mysteries are hiding right in front of our eyes, just waiting to be observed? Thank you for exploring this fascinating scientific cold case with me, and keep looking up.